Gradle of their files and our files, so we are going on the same page. So they didn't have a Gradle here. Yeah, they didn't have a Gradle here. So you can download this example to your Eclipse or to any of your Android Studio and simply see how actually the coding works on their pages, and we can reuse that same thing. But now I will show you how and what actually you have to do in order to use your Picasso inside your application. So let me take some few image URLs. So you can get them anywhere. Let's now use the same things here, same URLs here. So you're gonna see these images there. Gonna take this each URL here and just to sync it every time. Whenever you had a new compile library, you're gonna add it to your Gradle, you have to sync it in order to make that library come into your code. So meanwhile, by the time it syncs, let's go to the ListView adapter and let's go to this main activity. I'm gonna write the same things, write a string of array for image URLs. And yes, we have to do a bit of task here. Let's do it anyhow. So of them. Let me not take those many strings or those many images. I'll take only a couple of them. I'll reiterate the same 4 again and again so that I will have 8 images. I can choose directly. And 4. So let it be that way, and I had one. It's confused, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. The same thing. The rest. Let's make it 8. So you iterate the same 4 images again, so you'll have 8 in total. And I'm gonna decrease the number of contents here as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8. Let me remove the rest of the things. So just come into them. So I had image URLs now here, and I'm gonna get this image URLs or send this image URLs to the list adapter, so that I get them there and I display them using the Picasso on the list view in place of those icons. And see what we're gonna do is, along with the values, we'll put image URLs there. Of course, this is not the way you have to do it with the list adapter. I will talk to that again after this, after making this demo right set. Then we can simply change it to other way. So list strings, and this should be URLs. This is the same thing. Ago. Dot URLs equals to URLs. That's how we got it. We got those URLs here. So what I'm gonna do is, I'll get these URLs as per the position, and I put them right there on the image view. So before that, now we got the Picasso. So what you have to do is, you have to get the code that actually the Picasso we're actually asking you to use the same code to load a URL. So here Picasso, just say Alt Enter. It got, because of the line that we wrote in the Gradle file, Picasso actually downloaded to your code and it's available. Picasso is everywhere available for you here. So let's make the context, because we need context here. Equals to context, and there you got the context. Now take this context and give it as here, and it's already there. And instead of giving this hard-coded URL here, I'm gonna take URLs dot get int location, and I'm giving it position. So same like I did for the title, from the objects I'm getting it from the URLs to get objects. And here you need to give the image view. So our image view is img, and I'm giving it to this. So let's run that and see whether Picasso is working for us or not. Firstly, let's cross check whether these URLs are still working on that. And before that, it has to add a permission to your manifest XML that you're gonna use internet for this. That is what you have to do. This is the normal sample of that particular Picasso. So as I can get it from the same source at any point of time, and I can simply get that done. So as of now, I'm just using the same Android permission that you can use it here into our application. And guys, we just wrote one line, that is Picasso dot with context dot load, and you're getting the URLs from the activity, and we will change that a bit with the standard approach. And the placeholder, I just added a placeholder, and previously there was no placeholder, but I added a placeholder with r.robot and the same cloud upload image, which will be showing you the placeholder image before downloading an image. So whenever you want to download an image, you just need to put an permission in the manifest.xml every time. If not, there will be no chance of downloading an image, or your particular device doesn't connect to, or your application will not allow you to connect to the internet and check. So I'm gonna add 3 states, or you don't even need these 3 states, but if you want it for any other future purposes, if you feel that access network state, in order to check whether the particular network is present and Wi-Fi network or any mobile network is working or not, and then do the downloading part or something like that, then you actually do access network state. And as of now, we can just go on with the permissions.internet, but even this state here will not give you any other problems or any other errors. But we can use this for the future purposes anyhow, because read external storage is something that if you want to read images from your local phone, from SD card or from your device locally, then this read external storage is very important to get that images from. And this read contacts is actually gives you the chance of pull, whenever you are getting the images for contacts, your contacts will have some images if you have put some images, so but they don't get included in your local gallery or photos part. They are in a different path. So if you want to pull those images as well, then you need to put read contacts in order to get those pictures as well into your application. So let's not get into that thing now, but let's go on with the present thing. So I just added a permission internet to this one in order to make those images download, because always downloading an image from the service is something which you connect to the network and download it from there. So Picasso, which does that on .load method, is that you will get the URL and it keeps loading it. So the best part of this image loader frameworks is it can load more than one image at a time. In the sense, the loading of each image will be a different thread. As we know, in Java you will have a multi-threading concept. So the same concept is applied here, because when you are in a list view, you don't see one image at a time, you will see a couple of images or more than 6 or 5 images at a time on your screen. So you have to, you can't load one image by one image, so that takes so much of time when you had so many images on your list view or a grid view. So in order to get them download and show them at the same time, you have to run them in a multi-threading process. So all this multi-threading process and everything, it is done by Picasso in its library, so we are not worried about that thing right now. So let's get into the concept. So the cloud upload is the placeholder here, and I'm gonna load it prior to the image that actual image loads by meanwhile. So I'm gonna run this application here, and let's see what's gonna happen. So that is the application, and you see the images has been changed into the other images whenever you have seen them before. It just actually the amount of memory the image takes, and the kind of fast you had for your image, for your internet. So it takes very little time, because I had only a couple of images. There are only 8 images. I'm actually using the same images and again. So it's like image 1, image 2, image 3, and image 4. If you open this URLs in the outside somewhere, you can actually understand it. So let me check that out. So this is image one image, which actually looking like a placeholder image, but we are actually using it similarly for displaying the same image here. So you can put something there, some other URL that comes dynamically to you, or you want some other images to download there, or you can also put the local images there. I mean local in the sense from the mobile phone, or it could be any other way. So it's not only that you have to put URLs there in the Picasso load method. You can put, instead of URLs, you can put the path of your image on your local device, or you can put normally the path from your res or resources file. So it could be string path, it could be file in the sense it would be the file path of your image present in your SD card or phone storage. And resource ID is something that which comes from the resources, in the sense I can show it here from the RES, from drawable, and you can get the image here as well. So it accepts all the three parts here. So it depends upon your requirement how you want to do it. So along with this, presently we have to do one more thing that you have to in order to make your application or in order to make your Picasso show the images, whether they got downloaded from the network or they got loaded from the cache. We have to make some Picasso configuration for that. So in order to get that, you simply you have to write these 4 lines, and it gives me some error. So let me first import them. So what I'm gonna do is, Picasso.builder is giving you a Picasso.new builder, and you're building it, I mean you're creating a new builder, and you're using that builder to download the maximum number of URLs that you could do. I mean, you're giving the number of multi-threading processes, how many number you want to give it. So the downloader will give you, here we are taking the integer max value, which is the max value of ever. So you take this value here, or you can give any number of value here if you want to give it. So it pulls those images. I mean, that many number of multi-threads will be run at a time when you use this configuration. And Picasso build, and you're building it, and this build is also it will give you some methods like set indicators enabled. I'm giving it as a status as false. So as we spoke previously, when you want to set some kind of indicator for your application, I mean, let me show that again. So you had the indicators on the top of your image views, something like a red and something like blue and something like green. So if you want to see these indicators, so the one line you have to write in your application is that you have to make build.set indicator enabled. If you make this true, you can see those indicators. And let me run that after making that true. Just made that true and running it on the device. And make sure your device has an internet connection, and you give the internet permission anyhow, because obviously the images from the URL loaded from the images from there. And let me show you how it's gonna look. Sorry, it's happened something. True and dot. And you can make logging enabled, in the sense it gives you at what status and what the URL has done, whether the URL had any kind of problems or it has no problems. It gives you all these things in the log report, so that you can understand what's happening and what's not. That line. Excuse me. So this I have to make it true and run that again. and there you see the indicators. Now you see it's blue, which means it's coming from the memory. So it's actually, these images we actually ran so many times in right now. I mean, we actually keep on running this application from past 3-4 times, and by the time this images has been loaded into the heap or memory. So now they were coming from the memory, that is why the indication was blue, and they're quick enough. If you have seen it, by loading for the first time, even it doesn't look like it's loading for the very first time, because it loads just like that, like a twig, and it doesn't give you any lagging as well, because there are so many multiple threads running, and when these images are very low resolution and got very less memory, it is very simple to get those images and just pull it on to your list view. So that is why the indicators are blue. That means that they are already got added to the memory and all. So if let's increase it, and let's increase the number and see how gonna it take care of them. Okay. Just doubled it. Since previously they were 8 and now they are going to be 16, so that you will have a scroll to see. See, the images got loaded just like that, and the green is something that it already got added to the cache, or it's already in the memory or disk. So the green, and when you check them, they're already added to that, and it has to go from cache to memory, and they stays for the very long time. And if you don't want to put them there, and still you had an option of doing that in your adapter itself. So when you're loading them, and let's make them one by one. So when you don't want to add something, so there is called a memory policy method, where you can write some memory policy, no cache, so which helps you, it doesn't cache your picture to any place. Or also you had another policy, memory policy.no store, it won't store your images at any point. So always you see those images only from the network, but not from the memory or from your disk. Let's see that. So those are not getting into the disk anyhow, so they stay there, and whenever you see when I'm scrolling that, those images are getting reviewed or recalled every time, because I'm not storing them in the memory. So I'm using the memory policy not to store or not to cache them, so they still gets downloaded each time I scroll up and down. And this is not something you have to do it in the list view or a grid view, unless if you had some image always changing. So it's always a costly operation when you don't save some image there, and if you are loading it every time when you scroll up and down. And list view is always should be smooth enough in order to make the user come back again to the same screen without feeling that something is heavy a screen or something, or giving him a bad experience. Because when you keep on lagging him while loading these images, it doesn't look really very good enough for a user in order to see that loading image and all. So you don't load those images each and every time you scroll it. So the memory policy should be only used where you want it to use, where there are some images where you change it. So generally this happens when you had a profile picture and you just changed it. For example, you had a Facebook and you just uploaded a picture, and it has to get applied to all your previous posts. So if there is a different link for your old profile picture, and there is a different link for your new profile picture, and they has to update it to so many other parts or so many other old posts as well. So instead of doing that, what it simply does is they will keep they will persist the same URL for your memory or for your profile picture, but they change the physical file that is matching or that is actually pointing to your profile picture. So the old profile picture or the new profile picture is actually getting updated in the same link. So whenever you had that kind of scenario, when you're caching it to your mobile phone or when you're caching it in your application, so even there is a new update from other place or somewhere, you won't update the new profile picture because it is something already saved to your memory cache or memory disk. So there is no chance of getting the new profile picture in that case. So that is why you have to make sure that you are not saving all the profile pictures. At least in some cases you have to make use of this memory policy where you have this kind of changes and all, which dynamically should be reflecting on your mobile phone or mobile application. So let's get into some other business. That is, I'm actually sending objects and URLs in two different list URLs, but I don't like that anyhow. So I want to change them to some other model where you can set them all together into one single object, and adapter gets only one object together and use it for different purposes. What now I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new model in my package, or I can create a new package anyhow, but I'm just taking it as of now to make it more quicker. I'm going to take a new model. Let's make it Picasso model. Doesn't matter, whatever it is. Picasso. So this Picasso will have of two values. There is one string title and string image URLs, or just URL is fine. And I want getter setters for this, so I'm gonna alt insert, and you had getter setters here. I'm selecting both here and say OK, and they appear, and my model is ready. And what I'm now going to do is, I had some values and image URLs here, so I have to put these image URLs everything into this. I'm set that into an object, and I make a collection of objects and put this object into a list array or array list that is of same kind of object. That means if you see, I'm taking a list array, or I'm taking a list with name Picasso, which is of our object name or the model name. So Picasso row items or pick row items, what do we call it? What is the name we give it? You can give it any name. Right then. Here I'm gonna give it again Picasso. So now I had a row items, pick row items, which is of model, or which will be accepting the items of model Picasso. So the only thing I'm left with is I have to add Picasso objects to this pick row items. So what my Picasso object contains? It has to contain the title and it has to contain the URL. So the URL and the values or the titles are present in these values. So I can simply make a loop for this, or simply make a small for loop for both of this, and make each model and add them to pick row items. And here is how I'm going to do it. Generally we don't do or we don't come over this kind of cases when you're in a real-time procedure. What you generally do, or what you generally come through, is you'll actually call it from the web service, and you add them dynamically to your object, and you don't have this kind of loops and all. You just parse them dynamically. In this sense, you will have a big JSON or XML or any kind of response from the web service that you actually call, that response you parse it into a particular object. That could be Picasso object or whatever the name you give it. Depending upon the object or the response you're getting it, you actually parsing each value from it and you put them into your model. And this model, each model is an each item or each row item, and this row item is actually put into in some kind of list or any kind of that kind of data structure, so that you can easily carry it to any other adapter or any other activity to make good use of them. So now what I'm going to do is, we don't have any web service and all, or we are not dealing with the parsing or web service. So what we're simply doing is, we are going to hardcode the values. We had those values anyway, we had the values and we had image URLs. So what we're going to do is, we're going to we're going to put those items into the model, where you're going to do dynamically when you parse it. But here we already have the data, so let's do it from there. So values.length. So values.length here is one and the same with image URLs.length, because it's the same URL length that I tried to make it put in the same way. So items plus plus, and here I'm gonna create each time the Picasso model equals to new. I think I can simply import this instead of, there are two Picassos in this scene. Do one thing, let's change this Picasso model to some other name. Picasso object, so that seems better than this, right? Always big, very big, you can't always deal with the same kind of names. Excuse me. Right. Use the same thing here. So it's simple as that, and this is p object equals to new Picasso object, and I created a new object, and pobj dot set title, and I'm putting the very first value as a title, values dot get, sorry, it's an array, right? So values of items, and p object dot set URL, and what you're supposed to put is image URLs of items. So you had the object ready with the p object which had title and URL, and now what you're gonna do is, you simply use this pick row items and you put each object, or you add each object into this particular row, pick row items. So now by the end of this loop, you'll see pick row items is completely packed with all the title or all the p objects or Picasso objects, and now we can simply push this objects or push this array list into the adapter that we actually wrote. Instead of two array lists, I'm gonna take only one that is pick row items. Yes, it gives me error because I have to change it there as well. So instead of taking two, I'm gonna take only one. That's going to be Picasso object, and the same thing has to be done here. I'm going to remove this at all. Don't need these URLs anymore. and that's how it goes. And the array adapter is previously of string values, but you're now dealing with the objects, and so the array adapter can be changed at any point of time. So I'm going to change this string to Picasso object. So that makes all the sense. And now the only change here you have to do is you have to get the position. Along with the position, now you simply say get title here and get, okay, this is not URLs, it has to be objects itself, objects dot get URL. So that's how we actually generally do in the real times. So you don't put anything hard coded here, because we don't have enough data from the web service, and also we actually trying with the normal data that is available here, and we just hard coded some values. So the rest of the procedure that you actually do, or that actually does in the real time, is in the same way. You get those objects, or you put the parsed content into an object, and you add it to a row item, and you pass this row item somewhere, and use it from there, and you make it available to the classes. And that is how you do. And let's run this once and see whether it's gone with the same idea that we did, or the same kind of way it happened. So you can keep on adding something to this Picasso object, and you can get simply updated there. So let's see it. So that's how it is. It's fine, it's fine, very fine, and it just works same as the previous one. There is no difference. But now the best outcome of this thing is, now I can, if I had a new property to the list view, I can I need not to actually worry about sending another previously when you send here, you used to send 2 row items or 2 array lists, and again if you had another third one, you have to send 3. Instead, now we don't need to do that. You can simply create another tuple here. Simply whatever the tuple it could be a serial number, or it could be anything else. So for example, if I want to put a new serial number, I'm going to put it this way, and the shortcut for this is Alt Insert to get the getter setter method. So get that. So I have this as well, and I'm gonna set this up here again. P object dot set s number, and let's do this. Items plus 1. Okay, so that gotta be giving you 1 to 24. So if I want to display something more here, I can simply get it before it. So here in the list adapter, I can add that tuple to any other title. For example, I had title already, I want to add something else. I want another text view before this. Here I'm gonna add something more with serial number again, and let's make it 0 as of now, and the text color is primary dark, or let's keep it black and bold. And you can give it text style bold. So as we know, we don't do it generally that way. Let's make 5 degrees fine. Oh, let's make it 8. It's fine. Yeah, that's how. So I can set this text view in the list adapter now. I take this list view, I initialize that here to another one. This is yes number, and I change this to yes and O, and now I simply set the text in the same way from here, like this. That could be an integer, so let me do this way. Then let's see how's it going. and there it goes. So you see the numbers coming on beside it. So you keep on increasing the number of tuples. I mean, if you keep on getting some updates to your to your list contents and all, you can simply add an item to your list row or list items layout, and now you can add a new tuple to your model and keep on updating your model to which each one you can do it. So it's always better that you go with the models and all. That is the power of models. Then you're going with a lot more huge amount of data, and never go with that kind of approach when you're going with or when you're having that chance of going like this. So now if I don't want this color combinations and all, I can simply remove it from here. Instead of putting this, you can simply say false, or I can completely remove that, even though if I completely remove that, by default it takes false. So you see that it doesn't show you any color indicators now. So that is why first time the placeholders and the second time they loads all together just like that, and you see everything is ready by now. So that's how it looks. Thank you guys, thanks for that. And let's talk about some other tutorial again. The next tutorial, let's speak about the grid view with the same Picasso, and how you're gonna do with the grid view. And it will be the same way, but the grid view is something you use with a different layout and different size or different kind of images. And let's see this time the real-time images. Apart from this images, I don't feel that they are looking so convincing when you're loading it, and they are loading it very quickly. But if it is the case that you had a huge picture, and how much time that takes and how does it looks is the case. So let's do that on grid view in the next tutorial. Thank you guys, thanks for it.